Hi you guys, this is Rachel Kirkland, the Modern Shaman, and thanks for being with me for another YouTube question of the week. If you are new to our channel, I always just welcome you here and say thanks for being a part of this time. Always feel free to subscribe, to like, to share, and to hit the bell little notification so you find out every time I put up a new video each week. If you want to send in your video questions, just go to my website, themodernshaman.net, and fill it in the, it's like the form at the very end where it's contact me, and you just notify me and just say that this is a question for the YouTube channel. Also, if you want to find out all about what's going on, my touring schedule, 2020 is up on the website now. So I'll be in Austin, in Chicago, in Hawaii, and I can't remember. I'm going to be in Japan. I'm also going to be in I think Virginia. There's all sorts of places up there on the website. So go see where I'm going to be and if I'm going to be in your town. I'm also doing this fun new thing every time I do touring events where I am booking sessions, pre-booking if you know ahead of time that I'm in your area, as well as a free lecture during that time when I'm traveling. And I'm doing a little social event, which is just basically like a dinner get together. So if you want to hang out, if you want to just connect, a lot of times it seems like in big conference venues, it's like everyone's walking around and seeing all of the different vendors, and there's not a lot of chat, hangout time, just one-on-one kind of connection and community. So I've added that to part of my touring schedule, is that every time that I have a venue, there's just going to be a dinner where we just say, hey, if you want to come hang out. We'll be there, and hopefully you can come too. So that's on the website also. Another cool thing is that I am launching my new teaching platform come January and February. We're going to do the cold launch and the warm launch at the beginning of the year, this upcoming 2020. It's a big year, so lots of amazing things coming down the pipeline, and that teaching platform is just going to be online modules so you can download them at your own pace, which is so good because that's the way everybody wants to learn nowadays. So stay tuned and just keep poking in and peeking in the website to see what is new and coming down the pipeline in 2020. All right, we'll get on to the question for this week. Oh, you know what? I didn't write it down because it was a long question and it was in response to a video. So I'm going to paraphrase, basically. She was saying that she had seen my Facebook live stream, which I do the first and the last Friday of every month at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time on my Facebook page. She had been on there and her question didn't get answered, but she had asked about trouble getting pregnant and kind of what any suggestions would be for the time period when you're waiting on things to come, or when things are not going as you've planned, or when you have a plan and it seems like the divine plan is different. Or I felt like the question was so apropos because whether or not we are waiting on a pregnancy, like her example, or waiting on a job, or waiting on anything, whatever it may be that we are wanting to create in our life, and we have our own timeline and our own plans and expectations and goals, when the timing feels very different or when things don't go as planned, that is just such a perfect kind of scenario that I feel like everybody can relate to. So I'm gonna stretch out the question and make it more, I don't know why I'm holding this pen. Just holding that pen the whole video. But anyways, so let's talk about 3 tips for when things do not go as planned, or when it's like, Spirit, what in the world are you doing? This was not part of the plan for me. Now, when these things happen, my first piece of advice, and what comes up oftentimes in sessions with Spirit and channeling the divine for others, is that the first suggestion from Spirit is always to rest in peace. There's this sensation of like rocking the baby, rockabye baby, like all is well. Sit in the peace that is offered by knowing that a higher perspective, a higher divine order, that in every little infinitesimal way has orchestrated a precision in your life and a precision in the lives of others that are in connection to you. That they have a plan and that the plan is being worked out in the best, most efficient and effective way, in the highest vibrational orchestration for you and for those that are connected to you. Resting in that plan takes a lot of the pressure off, or the failure off, or I got something wrong, I did something wrong, or how did I miss the boat, or how did I, this achievement mindset that so much of our Western world has when it comes to our goals, and even our spiritual and metaphysical and deeply personal goals of having a child, or of creating something with our life, or living out a certain purpose, or having certain conversations with people, or even wanting closure in relationships, things that we desire in a wholehearted, beautiful space. And yet it feels like the cosmos doesn't work it out that way for us, or the cosmos has other plans. When we can truly rest, and I mean rest, I mean, when I say that, there is a literal sensational aspect to the rest, like letting the shoulders release, letting the feeling of relief move through the body, letting the actual breaths slow, moving yourself into an alignment with resting in peace. That peace that surpasses all understanding, that says, I don't know why, I don't know the how, I don't know the details, but I know it's going to work out in the best way possible for me. I know that this is too big of an issue, this is too big of a life lesson, this is too deep of a heart question to have it left unanswered or unfocused on from Spirit. In fact, it is so precisely dealt with that when my timeline or my directions or my control and the goals that I have laid out for myself are not in alignment with my highest good, then I wish that Spirit would take the upper hand and really step in here and play things out the way that they are. And you know, when it's not happening according to your plan, it is happening according to a divine plan in its sense, again, of precision and manifestation for your life. The second piece of advice that I will have for you is that, this is a big one for me as a psychic, but this is the truth. It's what I call the irony of Spirit. This is the way things often play out. And it reminds, the movie that I love that actually really portrays this well, so many movies and so many really just portrayals of the psychic phenomenon, I feel like are really sensationalized and done incorrectly. But the one movie that I'm like, that is how it works, that is it right there, is The Matrix. I'm going to get all Matrixy on you. But I love when Neo goes to see the Oracle and she actually tells him he's not the one. And when he gets back in the elevator, if you haven't seen the movie, sorry, I'm maybe spoiler alert there. But so he goes to the Oracle because he's being told all of these things from everybody else, which is often what happens, right? We get all the advice from the therapist, from the family, from the best friend, from everybody that loves us and cares for us. They're giving us the advice. This is who you are. This is who you are. This is who you are. Stand in your identity. And when you're wrestling with it in yourself, you're going, what do I do? Where do I go? You go to the Oracle. You go to the psychic. You come to someone like me or Shaman. And then you ask that same question. What is my purpose? What is my identity? Is this who I am? And the Oracle says to Neo in the Matrix, you are not the one. And he gets back in the elevator afterwards and he's talking to Morpheus, who's asking him, like, did you talk to the Oracle? Kind of getting a play-by-play. And he says, yeah, she told me I'm not the one. And he says, and it's the perfect response. It's so perfect. He says, she will tell you exactly what you needed to hear. And nothing more. And that was what he needed to hear. And this is so much the irony of Spirit. Because Spirit's ways are not our ways. They are not human. And they do not process this way. They're not linear in their thinking. They're not flat and one-sided in an experience. They're not mutually exclusive. It doesn't double bind you up with the way that spirit speaks. And it's so hard for our mind to wrap around these things. And yet, it's always purposed. It's always purposed. And there is absolute perfection in the way that what is told to you, what is given to you, is needed for you. So when things do not happen the way that you intend them to, or you desire them to, or you would have created in your perfect world, in the way that you outline things, right? We can know that what we receive, that lesson that we get, that slap across the face, that sudden shock, that bomb that was dropped on us, that was like, ugh, whatever it is absolutely the thing that we, above all other people, needed for our journey. And I know that's a hard one to swallow. It is a gut-wrenching one for swallow. It is. I mean, I'm right in that same boat with you, because I'm like, really, Spirit? You gave me a lot of stuff to swallow, a lot of bombs to drop throughout my life. And yet, it has created the being that I am today, and which is able to connect with so many experiences in the human dynamic, because I have had so many of them that people would say, I would never want that in my entire life. And yet, I have those connector points in an emotional level that is truly a threshold. When you have been through it, when you have lived it, you pass a threshold. You have a connector point like no other. And I think that the irony of spirit is that we are given the words, we are told the direction, we are given the lessons that are exactly appropriate for our soul. Exactly appropriate for our soul. The wisdom, if we can align with that knowing, there is so much wisdom there. It doesn't mean that it's not a big pill to swallow. It is. It just is. And yet, if we have Spirit's perspective, the irony of that is that it's also absolutely right for us. It's absolutely right for all the other souls that are involved in that experience as well. It is. It always is. The third tip that I will give you from Spirit when things are not going as planned, or when you have something that you desire, a plan you set up for yourself, and it seems like everything is off course, or the timing is completely different than you would have created, or life just goes and takes you in a different direction. When those things happen, the third piece of advice that I would give you is to do the work. Now, this may seem completely paradoxical to my first point, which was rest, rest and peace. But it's not. And this is another aspect of Spirit and the divine, is that the multidimensional capabilities are not mutually exclusive. One phrase that seems like it's paradoxical with another piece of advice or another phrase from Spirit actually isn't. They interplay wonderfully together when we open ourselves up to the multidimensional aspects of our living. We can rest in the peace and the knowing that this is exactly what is needed to be, and that all is well within the experience. And yet we can also get on with business and do the work appropriate for ourselves, for our shadow, pulling things up in terms of any patterns that need to be looked at, any ancestral trauma, any blockages that we may be facing, any personal triggers of abandonment, of issues of our own fears, going through the physical work, getting our body in alignment, mind, body, and spirit. That's the work I'm talking about. Get the mind in alignment, get in your meditation, which is inclusive of sometimes it can be a workout meditation, like just jogging and getting yourself into that trance-inducing state of the no mind, or meditating and sitting on a yoga mat, or walking a dog, getting out in nature, any sort of meditative practice that moves you into alignment with the mind and being open and peaceful in the mind. The body work, getting your body detoxed through. Sometimes there are blockages in our physical form that are holding us back. If we keep those blockages there, they begin to manifest and harbor a sense of restriction in our experience in this life. So looking at your physical form, taking care of your body, self-care, maintenance of loving the form, honoring, respecting, revering, and having a sense of genuine love and respect and care for taking care of your body. And that third part, spirit, doing the spiritual work. Like I said, that's the shadow work. By shadow work, I mean the things that we hide, our skeletons in our closet, the aspects of ourselves that we don't often see. These can be our relational patterns, our fears, our traumas, any sort of blockage that we feel like may have come up from ancestral lineage, expectations, things that you harbored and never said, limitations that you hold back for yourself, misaligned belief systems, meaning structures, religious structures that no longer serve you, patterns in our lifetime that are asking to be let go of in order to move forward. So when something doesn't go as planned, these are my 3 pieces of advice. Rest in peace, that all is well. Okay, give yourself that soulful peace. Then have that sense of awareness of the irony of spirit, that you will be told what is needed. You will experience exactly what is needed for your soul to develop. Know that. And then the third part of it is do the work. Do the mind, body, and soul work. Be active in it. This is one thing that I feel like a lot of times when people do the manifesting work, they move into the spiritual work, but they don't do the physical work. They don't actually get up and do something. Sign up for a class. Put your resume on the job application. Like, get the energetic momentum moving forward that has a sense of progression to it, and that snowball will take hold when you align with the peace as well as the action. Those are the 2 components that really move manifestation into form, because you're not fearing what's going to be created. You're doing the shadow work. You're looking at the aspects that need to be changed, and you're moving forward with them. At the same time, you're resting in a peaceful awareness that spirit is doing its part. That if you're showing up 100%, you can trust that spirit on their side of things and the non-physical is showing up 100%. It will always equate. It is an energetic match. So you bring your whole heart and your whole soul and your whole body into alignment with the process, and spirit will meet that. I hope that's a blessing to you guys. We will be back here next week with another video.